Welcome back. Happy Monday. And of course, that means the treat of the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, joining us. Hello, Don. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine. A busy Sunday, more than a busy weekend for you in Indiana with the basketball game on Sunday. You had the announcement of the new offensive coordinator on Sunday before the game. So, and then I think the women's team played yesterday too. So all kinds of stuff going on yesterday. But most importantly, Indiana had a game with Merrimack, in which the get right game, as we like to call them, and by the score, it certainly got right.
Yeah, there's no question. Merrimack was a welcome treat for the basketball team after one of the more disappointing losses we've seen in a long time at Wisconsin earlier in the week on Wednesday. I mean, the first half of that ball game was one of the best first halves I've seen Indiana play in several years now. They dominated Wisconsin until the last minute or so of the first half. They let a 22-point lead slip to 17 at halftime, and maybe that was the glaring scenario that was going to take place in the second half, because the second half was a total opposite performance by Indiana. So disappointing. Obviously, Xavier Johnson played so well in the first half and then so poorly in the second half. He tried to take the game over, I think, a little bit too much, trying to make things happen, force things. It wasn't just Xavier, though. I mean, nobody played in the second half like they did in the first half, where they shot the ball tremendously in the first half outside. They were working the ball in, patience from everybody. The bigs both had patience in the first half. The second half, not so much. It was just one of those things where everything that they did well in the first half, they did poorly in the second, and it cost them big time.
Charlie, we always hear it, and Don says it too, that talk about games being won or lost at the end and the beginning of halves. And a lot of times we'll see that happen or not happen. There was, without question, how that happened in this game. Like Don mentioned, they had a 22-point lead, let it slip to 17 right before the half. So Wisconsin chipped off right at the beginning. And then when they came back out, they did it again. So this game, to me, it was lost at the end of the first half and beginning of the second half.
Yeah, I think I mentioned, Jim. Just kind of bring it back up to you, Don, as was on the post game show. I saw the slippage happen towards the last 2 minutes of the first half done. I didn't like how we finished. Um, I didn't like it. I saw the slippage, and I was like, man, oh my god, like it's just one of those things. As a player, you just know, okay, this is going to be a dogfight, and it was. Wisconsin chipped away at it, possession by possession. We got tighter, we got more impatient, as you mentioned, and all of a sudden, it takes a big shot that was forced, but again, he made it in the corner, and they take their first lead late in the game. But I saw the writing on the walls, man. We didn't secure that win. We didn't take care of the ball. I thought Xavier Johnson, nothing against him. He was just indecisive, as I was mentioning. He was getting too low and down in the paint on the pick and rolls, and
Right.
he had no options. Like you could see his head was on a swivel, and now I got to throw up shots because I'm so low in the paint, or I'm driving so hard left, shooting the right hand shot. That's tough. Now it's 5-on-4, getting back on defense. It was just we were out of position, out of whack, and again we just lost that game. And I'm hoping it was a lesson learned.
Well, that's the thing. Is the lesson learned? Can this
Yeah,
team take those lessons and utilize
yeah,
them as the season progresses? Because
right,
we've seen this happen before. It's not like this is the first team that's ever lost the lead toward the end of the first
right.
half and then plays really bad in the second half. We've seen this happen many times over the years, or I have at least. Uh, that said, you've got to learn from that. And the question is, and the coaching staff has to learn from that as well. That may take some kind of a total change up in what you're trying to do out there. You may start 5 different faces to start the second half just to get everybody on board, understanding we can't finish that way at the end of a half and expect us to turn things around in the second half and be really good. It's not going to change that way. So I don't know what you do. I'm not a coach, never have been. Don't pretend to be. Haven't stayed at a Holiday Inn last night.
Uh-huh.
the X's and O's, that's all up to coaches and how they motivate their players. And that's part of coaching. And Mike Woodson's going to have to learn at the college level. Sometimes that takes more coaching than it does at the NBA level.
Well, he said it best, right? My last point, Jim, if you don't mind, he, in his presser, he said, I gotta help these guys find a way to win. And I think, unfortunately, John, Jim and Don, I think you need those kind of games, even though who wants to have those? But now you have reference points, right? You actually have it. You can now create best practices from this, and you hope everybody's hands on deck when you see the writing on the wall again, when slippage happens, probably more timeouts, more coaching moments, more teachable moments versus just letting it play out.
Yesterday, if you look at the stats, the numbers look really good for a lot of the players. You got your standard from Trace Jackson Davis, 16, and what do you end up with? 9, almost a double-double. Race Thompson, 14 and 7. And then how about Jordan Geronimo with a double-double in 13 minutes, 13 points, and 13 rebounds. A great day for him. And Don, it seemed like every time I saw a ball go up, I would see 2 hands go up higher than everyone else, and it was Jordan Geronimo.
Well, part of that was the fact that nobody on the Merrimack team had hands that high. They were not a big team by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
And Indiana dominated the boards 54-16. So, part of that was the fact that this was a team that was undersized and outmanned. But that said, Jordan Geronimo, to me this year, has been kind of an anomaly. He has not played the way I anticipated he would have played, like he did yesterday throughout most of the season. He has not handled the ball very well when he's not catching the ball cleanly a lot of the time. Yesterday he did that. I've been kind of concerned about his performances up to this point because he hasn't given them big, valuable minutes like he did yesterday throughout. Because I thought that would be more the norm rather than the exception at this point. That said, he did have that kind of game yesterday. So I hope that buoys his confidence and the confidence level that he should be playing with, because he's a phenomenal athlete. At 6'6", he can rebound with anybody. If you watched him last year, the things that he did last season against Luka Garza, against Kofi Coburn, how he played against those guys fearlessly. I think those are all the things that I judged him on coming into the season, believing that, man, this guy's going to get it done. He's going to really help this team coming off the bench or whatever role that Mike Woodson has for him. And up to this point, he had not done that. And so yesterday was a big, big bright spot for me in regard to Jordan. And I think he's going to be one of those very valuable pieces if he can continue to build on his performance of yesterday, because honestly, that was really impressive.
Yeah, he did a tremendous job. And once he gets the offensive to match the defensive, he's a guy that can end up in the NBA strictly because of his athletic ability.
Well, I've said this all along, and Charlie, you're better at probably gauging this than I. But Jordan Geronimo, to me, is kind of like, and I don't want to say he's like that guy, but he's kind of like Draymond Green when he was in college. An undersized guy that just banged and was fearless and went out there and played with confidence and that energy level, all those kinds of things. And that's kind of what Jordan reminded me of last year when he came into ball games. He had all of those intangible things going for him, and obviously not a finished product by any stretch, and not where Draymond Green was at the end of his college career. But my point is, he's an undersized guy that plays like a guy that's 6'9", and I really like that. And that's where I think he can really help this basketball team. And I don't know, is my analogy not a good one as far as Draymond Green is concerned?
No, it's not good. It's great. And you're right on. And I think a role type player, and I say role as in obviously we know Draymond Green starts, but a role type player that's a glue. He's the nucleus, right? He is the nucleus that helps people get in position. We don't marvel at his scoring, but he can score the ball when needed, but he puts people in position and he holds people accountable. You are right on. I never thought about that, but that's an excellent role model. I call that a windshield effect. That's an excellent windshield effect for Jordan, a player like Draymond Green.
And I think that's to me that's what needs to be emphasized to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be the star, the scoring
No.
star. You know, he can do so many other things to help this basketball team become a really good basketball team.
Yeah, because he can guard. He can guard. I mean, he can guard every position. That's what. So you just he can guard 1 through 5. He can bring the ball up the court. He did. So the pressure for me to him, from my perspective, there's no pressure to do those things. Trace is going to get your numbers. Xavier's going to help you out. Race is going to come through. Paul's going to shoot. You just be the intangible guy, right? The stuff that we call it the 80-20 plays now, right? The hustle plays, right? The going up to the rebound, the loose ball fights. The small things that really, really make a difference. May not make a difference on the stat sheet, but like can make a difference and impact on that club. So you just, man, that's you're spot on.
Yeah.
This week, Don, Indiana has the week off as finals have set in, but at the end of the week, Saturday, the final installment of the Crossroads Classic up at Gainbridge Fieldhouse versus Notre Dame, who is coming off of a big win over Kentucky, so they're going to be jacked up. They had a losing record going into that game, but are able to knock off Kentucky. And I think I saw where under John Calipari, Kentucky is 1-6 or 1-7 in his entire career there in true road games. That's why he doesn't ever go anywhere to play anybody.
I was going to bring that very thing. I was going to say, well, apparently John Calipari will never take his team to South Bend again.
Or Indiana, or just the state of Indiana, period.
That's the whole point. The whole point being the fact that he dumped Indiana after Indiana beat him in Assembly Hall back in 2012, never played Indiana again after that in Assembly Hall or at Lexington for that matter. Here's the whole point. Notre Dame is a better basketball team than people think they are, even though they have not played up to their capability throughout the season here early on. They are a good ball club, and Mike Bray does a great job of coaching these kids and gets them to play hard. And it'll be interesting to see how Indiana handles that on Saturday after a week, basically, that they had semester exams to deal with and all those things that are out of the ordinary in the sense of regular classes and those kinds of things.
Yep. So looking forward to that game. It's the last installment of that. What are your thoughts on that ending?
Well, I've always liked that kind of a scenario. They used to have the Big Four Classic at the Hoosier Dome with Indiana, Kentucky, Louisville, and Notre Dame, and I always thought that was great. And I like that kind of thing. I understand why some schools may not want to continue it. I think Indiana's one of them. I think Indiana was, we're done with this. And I'm not saying that was the thinking process. I don't know who has wanted to step out of it. Somebody told me Notre Dame didn't want to play it anymore. I don't know. All I can tell you is I think from a fan's perspective, it's a great day, and I hate to see it end.